welcome back to the Space and Grace podcast. Y'all, this is season 3. I am so excited to sit here in my makeshift audio studio space. I'm so excited and nervous to bring you more thoughts, more engaging conversations on season 3. This season, I am challenging myself to be more authentic, to be true to who I am. My first 2 seasons, I wrote every word you heard me say. I literally typed it out and rehearsed it. But it was only because I wanted to make sure I was perfect. But because of that, I stopped recording. So I'm in this space where I don't want perfection. I want progression. I want growth. And I want authenticity. And I want that for myself and for you too. So here we are. Now, understand me well. I research every topic. I am thoughtful in my word choice and transparent in my knowledge. So you will hear me recite things, but I will continue to be as transparent as my healing allows and make you aware of when I can. So if you're still down with me, let's get season 3 started. Welcome to the Space and Grace podcast. I am your host, Tanisha Harris, and I am your CHEO, Chief Honesty and Encouragement Officer. Here at Space and Grace, we focus on healing, laughing, thriving, and loving. And we do that by granting ourselves and others the space and grace to evolve in very practical ways. Y'all ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Space and Grace podcast. I am super excited, as always, to be here and chat with you all. So, I have not recorded in a while, and that's okay. For giving myself grace. Life is happening. I have things to do. But I'm also learning that when I don't record, I get overwhelmed with thoughts. So this is really a great place. And I've always said this, that this podcast is so healing for me. I hope that it is for you. And I realized today, it's like, hey, I have not talked to my digital friends, my social media friends. I have not connected with you, and maybe it's time. Maybe these emotions are becoming overwhelming, and it's time. So here I am. I am back. I want to give a huge shout out to all of those that listen and that have subscribed. I sincerely appreciate it. You have no idea how much it makes me feel to know that you're here listening to me ramble about all the things. But as always, I hope that there is something that resonates with you, that challenges you, that pushes you, that encourages you. And so here we are. I want to talk about, first, oh my goodness, y'all know we got to check in. Y'all got to stop me. Okay. How are you feeling? There is so much happening around us. And so I just want to take the time to ask you, how are you doing? And I also want to take the time to say you can feel more than one feeling and emotion at the same time. You can be saddened and disheartened and still find moments of joy. That's okay. So let's breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Okay, now, y'all know I've made notes, but I really have felt more authentic and more transparent and more honest when I speak from the heart. So I just have bullet points here, and that's what we're going to go from today. Okay, y'all let me know. But I want to talk about honor and respect. I want to talk about honor and respect. How honor and respect impacts how we show up in our lives. particularly how honor and respect for our parents and loved ones impacts how we show up. Now, let me be clear is that I am speaking from personal experience, and we all have different experiences. And so some of this may resonate with you, some of it may not. I don't believe that it's just geographical and cultural. I believe that all of us kind of experience this to some degree. But I wonder how much of it impacts you. So for me, I have lived a life that my parents are proud of. The question has become, am I proud of my life? And for the most part, I am, because I've always been a wildflower. I bloom wherever I go. And even when it's hard, I've learned to make a way. But the last 2 years, I have doubted myself severely in so many different ways. And so when it comes to making a decision and being who I truly am, as of late, I have really made decisions from my parents' POV, my loved ones' POV, right? Everyone else's point of view, everyone else's perspective, and how they see the world. And how we all see the world is shaped by what we're exposed to and our experiences and things we learn and things we're taught and things we unlearn. So, honor and respect traditionally, right? How do you feel about tradition? What do you keep? What do you leave? How do you make those transitions? So, for me, one of the big things is Mississippi is home and will always be, but I always had the desire to go and experience other places. And I think for so long, it was a narrative that if you leave, you are unhappy or you feel that leaving home means you don't like home. And I fought with those thoughts and those narratives for a long time. I still am. But how much of that impacts the decisions that I make? How much of that has limited my opportunities? How much of that has kept me from being authentic? Is it the same for you? What does that really look like? What does that really feel? So for me, it has taken me years in therapy to start to really unravel what that really looks like and how I navigate that. And I want to be clear that this topic is very nuanced and very layered, right? Because there are my thoughts and experiences, there are my loved ones' thoughts and experiences. There are also generational, cultural, society thoughts and experiences. And all of these things are like layered. And like that's the hard part, right? That's the hard work that I talk about in therapy is that all of this is layered and connected. And so I got to this place because I have made decisions in the last, I don't know, 10 years of my life that I know my loved ones would not have made. And I've had to stand in those. And it hasn't been until recently where I've truly started to care. So I can tell you one area or one experience that has really changed me making these decisions. And it was a failed relationship. It was a failed relationship. We met, we loved, we blended families, we moved in, we did all the things. And it was one of the most beautiful and ugly experiences of my life. And I'm in this space where I want to experience this again. And what's keeping me from doing that? What's keeping me from being that wildflower that I said I was, right? Well, when you bring children into the mix and money and family and their thoughts, and everyone's going to remind you about the failed relationship, what does that do? For me, I start to hesitate. I start to sidestep. I start to stutter. And it is not authentic to who I am. If I'm a wildflower, you're going to do what you want to do and you're going to bloom. So I started to kind of think through this with my therapist around why does this impact me so much? Why does what everyone else thinks, particularly family, impacts me so much? And again, so many different reasons, so many different thoughts. Well, one of the things is fear. And so, again, this is all layered, right? Because this is my perspective, my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences, that I'm also layering family's thoughts, experiences, that I'm also laying generational thoughts, experiences, societal thoughts and experiences, right? So, single mom with a child, you should be close to home. You're going to need your family. You don't have this spiritual covering of a husband. We're here for you. This is where you need to be. Don't go anywhere. Life is crazy. You can't do it alone. You're not safe. All of that, right? And then I get up and move to Dallas and Birmingham and Nashville and all these other places as a single mom. Not to mention, God had blessed me with several strong, at that time, single mamas who have become extraordinary, beautiful wives. And so, this fear that I have accepted that was partly projected onto me because of all of those societal things has now almost crippled me in making decisions for myself. What about finances? If I am Not only am I now fearful about making these decisions, I need help in making these decisions. And so, in certain traditions, this thought process of I've helped you, so now I get to also make this decision with you. I don't like that decision. You can't go. But where does that leave me? How does that leave me? Do I push myself and I create the distance? Do I continue to go forward? What do I do? What do? You guys tell me. What if you being authentically who you are goes against the grain of your family? What do you do? So I can share what I've done. Number one, therapy. So let's just all know that that's going to always be my answer because that has literally helped me to navigate my thoughts and my experiences, my families, and all of these other layers. So that's one, therapy. While in therapy, doing the work, right? So I'm able to name all of these influences in my life. And I don't know if you remember, but the first episode, second or third episode in season one was about boundaries. And then I had to learn how to create boundaries. And let me be clear around the creation of boundaries. Those things change. They have to. As you evolve and become the person that you want to be, you have to create, cut, edit, control, alt, delete, backspace your boundaries. You just have to be emotionally, physically healthy, financially, whatever it is, right? So, boundaries. I'm more aware, I'm doing the work, I learned it in therapy, and now I've created boundaries that I now understand have to move like I move, just like that. But another thing that's been extremely helpful is having those core people in my life to remind me of who I am because we forget. I have some of the best girlfriends in the world who are not shy in reminding me, Nisi, that's not what you do. Is this what we doing now? Well, you wouldn't, that's not you to be rude. I have those same best girlfriends who challenge me and push me and they say, this is an area you need to grow in. Those same girlfriends who challenge me and push me and support me and are honest with me and keep me straight also encourage me. So having that has been extremely helpful. But one of the biggest things in recognizing that the honor and respect that I have for my parents impacting how I show up, one of the biggest ways that I've been able to move forward, and I am still working on this one, is really being with me. Really finding the time to connect with me and God. I know that may sound extra deep and it may sound complex to some and it may sound simple to others, but I have learned how I am most centered, and it is in nature, outside. For spring break, my daughter and I went to my parents' home, and it's super country, and I love it. And and I don't want to be there every day, okay? But I love it, right? See, two conflicting things that can exist at the same time. And for 2 days, my daughter and I stayed outside from like 8:30 that morning to like 6:30 because it started to get cool. And that literally, y'all, we went in for bathroom breaks, water, and food. And she made mud pies and drove her go-kart and played with the puppy, and I relaxed and listened to the wind, and I felt the wind, and there was a quick rain, so we went inside, and when we came back out, I listened to the frogs and the traffic and the birds and watched the clouds. And that may not sound fun to you, but to me, so good. And in those moments, I was able to see clearly the life that I wanted and deserved, the woman that I am, and the woman that I want to become. And it was clear to me that my purpose here is to enjoy this time and this space as best I can. That was that was a moment. Honor and respect is important. I think it grounds you. I think it builds your character. But how much honor and respect is there if you're not being authentically who you are? And that's for each one of us to figure out. And it's not easy, it's messy and hard and sad, but also beautiful and calming and centering and worth it. If it is for me to move away and contribute to into the world, into the community, into our society in such a way that it leaves a legacy when I'm no longer here, wasn't that worth it? And how magnificent is it to honor and respect those that worked hard for me to be able to do these things? Somewhere in my lineage, I know there was a woman who was just like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not doing it. I want to ask why, not because I'm being snappy or have an attitude. I am curious. The logic ain't logicking. The math ain't mathing for me. I want to do something different. Different isn't bad. Different isn't wrong. It's just different. It's great. It's strong. Someone in my lineage right now is like, there she is. That's what this family needs. I have to have the courage to do that. So I'm probably rambling, y'all, and that's okay because I needed to get this out. I feel so much better now. I hope that there is something that resonated with you, something that you can take, something that you can learn from or challenge or even start some dialogue around. I appreciate every listen, every download. I appreciate when you tell me that I sound like I'm putting you to sleep. I hope that's a good thing. I've been trying to speak more into the mic, a little louder, because even though I am very space and grace here, I'm layered. And so I am loud and I love to laugh loud. And so when you see me in person, you may not just see space and grace me, and that's okay too. So let me know what you think. As always, I have topics in mind. I want to talk about fulfillment and what that really looks like because it's definitely not just work and career. I want to talk about what to expect from your therapist. That was a part of the series that I did the first 4 episodes. And so I've had questions to come about that. So I definitely want to talk about that. I also want to talk about imposter syndrome because, child, okay? Share this episode. Let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'll see y'all next time. As always, thank you for listening and sharing your time with me. I hope you heard something that resonated with you, something that challenged you, something that encouraged you, something that loved you. I want this podcast to serve you well. If any of that has happened, please help me with the following. Subscribe, follow the podcast, share with your family and friends. Leave me a review. Let me know your honest thoughts. Send me an audio note and let me know if you want me to include it in the podcast. And send me an email if you have a topic or question you'd like me to talk about. I will have all of the links and the email listed in our show notes. Y'all ready? Let's do this.